Hello. Hello everyone. Let me get all this set up. There we go. Hello, Twig. Well, I hope things are a-goin' the good. Drawing some gay men? No, I mean... I guess it depends on what you mean. Or what you project onto the character, right? Because we're drawing Hank today. Or at least we're gonna ink Hank today. Actually, wait a minute. Let me try to pretend to be Hank kinda gay. See, it really depends, right? Because Hank's really weird. Because he's one of those characters that you look at and you go like, he's so... Like, I remember when Marvel was doing that whole initiative of, like, changing character sexuality for inclusivity, whatever that word is, and stuff. And they were like, oh, okay, we're gonna make one of the X-Men characters gay, right? Which, you know, that was bound to happen. And, like, at the time, I was like, oh, so it's totally gonna be Hank, because of, like... You know... I remember the 80s, like, Avengers run. Does anyone else remember the way that Hank would interact with Wonder Man? You know, that whole relationship. Yeah, that was weird, right? Like, I know they wanted to portray those two as being, you know, friends, right? And that's fine. It did not come off that way. It's kind of one of those things. They're like, oh man, like maybe in the 80s this made it look like they were friends, but definitely today, that's a little weird. And then they did not make Hank gay. They made Bobby gay for some reason. And I'm like, what'd you do? Pull a name out of a hat? Oh, I was so like miffed at that idea. Just like, wait, you made Bobby gay? Bobby. Really? I actually can't. Okay, wait one moment, guys. I'm gonna mute this audio real quick. Just this, okay. My headphones stopped working for a second, so I had to do a thing. Let's see here. Ah, sorry, David. I don't look at news. Didn't the new Iceman run kind of suck? New Iceman run. New Iceman run. Do you mean the one after he turned gay? Like, nearly a decade ago at this point? I don't know if we can say that. Was there a new one? Was there a Krakoa era Iceman comic? Like, I remember the comic from All New, All Different. Which, yeah, people didn't like that run, but... That was a decade ago. Yeah, well, the one for All New, All Different. Well, that was like 2015 or 2016, I think. God, how long ago was All New X-Men? Like All New, All Different X-Men. Damn. Cannot remember. Cannot remember at all. Oh, hello, Cirrus. I should probably check back in on what's happening in X-Men comics, because I haven't entirely kept up with X-Men since, like, 2021? And there's been, like, 5 X-Men events since then. Like, Sword of X was happening around the time I stopped reading X-Men. So, like, if that tells you how long it's been. Yeah. That, and I was only reading the main X-Men book. Like, I wasn't reading Marauders, I wasn't reading Excalibur, I wasn't reading X-Force, I wasn't reading Wolverine, I didn't read Way of X, which I wanted to. Because, you know, that had Kurt as, like, I think that one had Kurt as the main character. So that, I was, like, interested in reading that one, but just never really got around to it. I started reading X-Force, but didn't get, like, too far into it. And the only reason why I was reading X-Force was, like, oh, Hank is one of the team members, and I don't mind Quentin. Like, Quentin's one of those characters that, like, when he shows up, I'm like, oh yeah, Quentin, you're fun, I guess. Like, you do things, you have a fun personality. Get in, loser. And I remember I wanted to try Marauders, just because that was Kitty's book. But I didn't get around to that. Because there were just too many X, like, that's still my biggest issue. It's just there are too many X books going on at, like, one time. Where I'm just like, you expect me to pay attention to how many books? Like, no thanks. And, like, New Mutants was going on, I think. So it's like, you know, if you are a fan of the New Mutants cast, Marauders sound like it would be edgy. Oh, so Marauders was a bunch of X-Men characters being pirates. You know. And I heard that people were okay with that run. But it's also X-Men fans, so I don't know, you know, how trustworthy that is. But, you know, X-Men books just being pirate books, that's not a new thing either, right? Because you had, was it Uncanny X-Men from the, like, 2013 or so? Where, it was Kurt sailing around on a pirate ship in the afterlife. I don't remember. It's been a long time. It wasn't the afterlife. It was like a demon world thing, but you know. You know. Is what it is. Comic books. You can do anything there. They get trippy. I mean, it's weird because when you're like reading that stuff and like, none of that really feels trippy. It's more like, oh, okay, status quo. Oh, here, let me. Is my mic just more sensitive today? Did I change a setting and don't remember? I don't know. Or did something change with the OBS update? I guess that could have happened. It seems like it's picking up more of, like, my clicks and clackers more than usual. At least it's showing up more in the levels. Been playing Persona 3 Fest today? Ah, I see, the non-canon variant. Because they did announce that, weirdly enough. That, none of the Fest content will apparently be included in Reloaded. Odd. A very odd decision to me. But okay. You'd think you would want to include that, just for closure? But it is what it is. I do still really like Fest. I still really like just Persona 3 in general, despite its issues. Because it has a lot of issues. Holy shit. But what fun. That is like my second favorite cast in the franchise. Let's see. Let's see here. Oh, in about 10 minutes, I'm gonna have to leave for a bit. I have food on the stove. It's just simmering, so it's not gonna, like, burn or anything. But, yeah, I'll have to go and grab that. And, you know, I guess then we'll have a little bit of an eating stream, right? You all like that, right? I haven't eaten since I woke up, a few hours ago. Man is cooking while streaming. I mean, it's happened before. It's not new. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. But you have to be fast, Maestro, or else like you won't get the actual clicks from it. That, and if you're an industry artist, you have to like you're trained to draw that fast. You know, you need to have like X number of drawings done a day, right? Like, well, I had stuff to do earlier today, so I was just up at that time, so. Like, that will not be a regular thing. That was more out of just circumstances. Got to watch when I got my car repaired. I see, I see. I don't know, I'm kind of glad that like the repair shop that's in my town is, it's not like the farthest away from where I live. Like it's like sure it's about a 30-minute walk like back from back to where I live, but if I wanted to, I could just walk back. I don't. I usually just call someone, be like, hey. But it is like a nice idea that I can. Because usually I just leave when I have to like drop off my car. I usually just leave it overnight. I'm like, you can get to it tomorrow if you want. Like, I tell that to the auto shop. And they're like, cool, we don't have to worry about this for a bit. There are only so many, like, auto shops in town, so like, they're like, all busy all the time. Hello, Vanel. Yeah, I do win the draw win. I do that on occasion, I guess. Eto. Damo. There we go. Okay. is fine. Ethel. Okay. Okay. I guess we'll do it like that. That seems fine. Maybe we'll put the lobe there. That seems fine. All right, see ya, Maestro. Okay. Oh, yeah, I guess that line works. We just don't need to put that there, I don't think. That's fine. We'll just leave it there. No harm done. Oh, I guess I should finish the... connect that a bit, you know? Hank is supposed to have a strong jaw. Or something. I don't know. Hank is supposed to have a lot of things, but, you know. It was fun, or a little weird going back to, like, the 60s run of the X-Men, and, like, Hank is so weird in that era, because he's not really depicted as, like, the smart one, because, you know, Professor X is there. He's the smart one. And Hank's so Hank has a really weird role because he's almost the jock on the team, and that's not how he's remembered. Like he's more like airheaded back then. Cause he's not like the well-read bookish type either, because that was Angel. Because he's like the aristocrat, like rich boy, right? So he's the one that's like has slightly higher education, but he's not the smart one. It was a little odd going back to that era of X-Men, just going like, but why is it like this? That, and you had 5 guys all hitting on Jean all the time. And her just going like, oh boys, like, Jean. Maybe she likes the attention. We know that she likes the attention. This is Jean we're talking about. That girl's been in, like, the most canon, non-canon throuple I've ever seen. But with Scott of all people? Like, I can understand fucking Logan, right? Because, you know, that man's kind of a man, right? But Scott? Like, Jean. Jean. Please, get some taste. Get some... Like, love yourself a little bit. Maybe she just really likes the sunglasses. I don't... Maybe. But at the same time, like, girl. You know, this is the reason why I don't really care about you. The most famous thing you ever did was die. That do be her legacy. Was Dark Phoenix actually good? Like, the storyline? Or do you mean, like, a movie? Josh spilling X-Men tea, I guess only a little bit. I like the Phoenix Saga. But it's also, like... It's one of those event kind of things. So it's a little awkward because it's almost weird to say, but that storyline was like so big it couldn't possibly be bad. Like, that was like a 5-year-long story, like the Phoenix Saga, like in comics. Like it's cool. It's also really sad. Like I didn't expect to legitimately like Jean by the end, because you know I did, you know, modern comic book reader, you know, I'm like, oh, but it's like this is the story where she's like famous for dying, like whatever, right? Her death is actually like pretty neat, and it's something at least I don't really see in adaptation that much, where Jean kills herself in the comic. Which is why, like, I hated how they adapted that in, like, the third X-Men film from Fox, like, The Last Stand or whatever, where they had it to where it was Logan that killed her, rather, like, kind of taking away her agency. Because, like, that choice in the comic was very important, that it was, like, Jean was the one that was like, no, I don't want this anymore. And at that point, I don't even think she had Phoenix anymore. Like, it's been a number of years since I've read that story. But I think she actually relinquished Phoenix at that point. Or maybe she still had it. I can't quite remember. At the very least, she was no longer Dark Phoenix. Like, she was of sound mind. But hey, at the end of the story, we got a strict upgrade, because that's how Kitty Pryde got introduced. Is like in the epilogue of the Phoenix Saga, Kitty joins the mansion. You know, because we have to have girl on team, right? So was it like this power can't be allowed to exist? So no, it wasn't. So, I guess like extreme cliff notes, what ended up happening is after the whole Dark Phoenix thing, right? They finally get Jean back. Like, Jean's, like, back to her normal self. Or at least, like, she's in control of herself again. It's not Dark Phoenix. It's Jean. A spaceship comes down from the sky, and it's the Shi'ar. If I remember, was it the Shi'ar? I can't remember. That one bird race that Xavier's wife was a part of. Yeah, that's in comic books. Comes down as like, we're gonna kill Jean. We've just decreed that we don't care if she's back to normal. We're gonna kill her. No trial. Because Jean had blown up several planets at this point as Dark Phoenix. And, you know, has killed the lives of trillions, you know, just Dark Phoenix things. just Dark Phoenix things. And they're like, well, inevitably this could happen again, so we're just gonna kill her off so that, you know, this doesn't happen again. So it was the X-Men versus an entire planet-sized army, and in Jean watching her friends like fighting to the death for her made her realize that this was not worth it, and so she killed herself so that her friends wouldn't have to like die in combat for her. Which I always thought was like a cute moment for her. And Scott had to sit back and watch. Or he was unconscious. I think he was unconscious, actually. I think she knocked him out and then, like, turned a cannon towards herself and fired. There was nothing left of Jean after that. Oh, whoops. We will do this. Yes. Okay. Okay, we can just kind of be a little lazy with this. But not too lazy. We have to care just enough about this. Which is why it's a little annoying when they just kept bringing Jean back. Because it's like, what are you gonna do? Kill her again? This is exactly what they kept doing for years. Here's another story in which Jean dies. Okay. It's like, I'm not gonna care again. Like... Did I do it outside? Okay, yeah. Okay. We will do it this thick, I guess. Who do you have in your circle, Josh? A bunch of characters no one cares about. It's fine. There's probably too many comic book characters on here. It's like, I can't not have Hank McCoy on here. I can't not have Ben Grimm on here, like... We love some personal faves, I mean... I guess you won't have people have, like, Devil Hulk on theirs, like... Do love me some Devil Hulk, you know? Maybe one day he'll be revisited. Though I haven't tried the new Hulk run. It started up this month, so I should probably go and read that. I also think Green Lantern #2 came out this month, so I should probably, you know, go back to that. You know, it's Green Lantern. I care about that comic, like I shouldn't. I shouldn't care about it, but I do. Even though Kyle isn't there. It's like, what about my Green Lantern? Okay. Alright, I'll be back in, maybe 5 minutes or so. I need to go grab my food. Ah, whoops. That's what I'm looking for. What? Okay. I'm back. Alright, well, we're almost done with this. Only 2 more sections. It'll probably only take a couple more hours. And we'll be done with this little project. A bunch of nobodies that no one cares about, and then Leo. I'm sure that he's the most recognizable one here. Which is a little funny, right? Just a little bit. At least I think so. Look, on when I post this to Twitter, the most recognizable character will probably be Leo. So, you know, it is what it is. Like, I don't know, maybe Gaugamon will be recognized. But then again, he's from, like, one of the least watched TV installments of Digimon, so... You know, that's a whole thing. Oh well. Can't. Don't know what I'm gonna do after this wheel, though. I probably need to get started working on, like, finishing thumbnails that I started. But that'll probably be more of an off-stream thing. Hopefully, anyway. Though I thought there wasn't going to be a lot more left of Final Fantasy 16. I don't know how long that game is. But knowing that I've just gotten to the main game, I'm like, oh shit. Like, okay. A little annoying, but okay. I didn't realize the game had 2 prologues, you know? So was all of that just the tutorial? I don't know, we were still getting tutorial messages even after we got post time skip. So I don't know. Maybe there'll be another time skip and Jill will be dead this time. You know? And then they'll forget to tell us because, you know, the game will forget that she exists. By the end of the game, Clive will be like 80. Hopefully, we can only dream. Like, I think that would be hilarious. Because we got to see Noctis to old age, right? Back in 15. Like, I don't know. I didn't play that installment. Psycho Smile, hello. But who knows? We'll see when we get there for 16. Maybe we'll actually get all the Eidolons before the finale. Because boy, are they divvying those out slowly. It is what it is, though. Oh. Yeah, my mushroom. Good, good, good. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. What's the tally for, how many months it's been since, a role to play? How much time has it been? That was November, right? Are we half a year into the, biannual schedule for, for a role to play? Like, let's go. Very excited. Do you think there'll be a Frontiers moment where Jill gives Clive her powers and the plot completely forget? Look, we've already forgotten about Clive. I mean, not Clive, Sid. Don't encourage it. It was... But Ian, this is the way that it is. Maybe next year we'll get Build 2 for a role to play. I mean, it's like it's probably... Oh god. It's probably my favorite of those, like, projects. Oh my god. I'm not choking, you're choking. So, like, it's... You know, I want more, but, you know... It'll be released when it gets released, right? You know, we'll get more Wazzy. He's a very good lad. We love Wazzy here. And you know, that game has better Carl. Do I remember his name? No. What if Carl was actually social? Here you go, he's in a role to play. We'll get more dad look. Don't tempt me with a good time. I want that awkward social dynamic with main boy and with Donnie and and his dad. Like, that shit's so good. Like, fuck the D&D campaign. Give me more scenes with the dad. I'd fuck that dad. What? Who was the one guy? Like, there was like one guy we didn't meet from the friend group, right? Because that's the dragon guy, right? We never met him. Like, we don't know, like, who plays that character. Oh, well. There are two we don't know. Oh, right, there's, like, the satirist character, right? Right. I forgot. Oh yeah, I forgot to ask. For the chat box, do you prefer the way it's set up right now where it goes to another line for the message? Like, I kind of liked that. I thought that, like, helped separate the chat messages a little better. And I increased the text size a little bit. And boy, did it take me a while to figure out what was going on before. Oh my god. I had to sift through actual code to, like, figure out what was happening. Like, it's still a little hard to read. Okay. I'll see what else I can do about that. Like, I wonder if just upping the size will make that better. Without full screen now. Okay. Yeah, I'll pump it up more. See if that helps. Like, off stream. Nope, don't do that. Okay. Yeah, it's a trial and error thing for me, at least. Cause like the website I use to generate the code does not have the normal fonts in it. And I don't know, like, how else to get other fonts in there. So I don't know. And I was like looking through the fonts that were there, and they're like even less readable than this. So I'm like, I don't know, man. But yeah, I can just continue to like pump the size until it's like more readable. It is what it is, right? I'll pump up the music a little bit. Gotta turn up the music, you know. Eh. Alright, this week Darian and I have to figure out what the fuck we're gonna start watching now that we finished all the musicals. I mean, one of the joking ideas that I might try to, like, get him to do, because it might be funny, is for us to sit down and watch a bunch of Scooby-Doo movies. Because he's never actually watched a lot of those. Like, he's only familiar with the What's New Scooby-Doo era of films. which, you know, I affectionately call terrible. Because those movies were. Though we may skip to like the late 2000s to mid 2010s, like that era of films, because those films were actually like pretty good, but they were all like to direct to video, so no one really watched them. Like they even stopped premiering on like Cartoon Network and shit. You actually had to like go out and buy them. But those movies were neat. Oh, that's a normal thing, Cirrus. Like, there are multiple Scooby-Doo and Kiss crossovers. That's weirdly normalized. It's like, ah, cool. Must be Tuesday. Yeah, there are multiple. They've probably crossed over with Kiss more than they have the Harlem Globetrotters. Why is that a phrase I can say? But not as much as they've crossed over with Batman, which are great every time. You know, it just is what it is. It's so good. Remember that time that Shaggy punched Joker into submission? 10 out of 10. It just is what it is. Eh. Okay. I can put this bowl away. Oh, my wolfie. Good, good. Sometimes I have to, like... Sometimes it dawns on me how bad I am about Leo. And then I have to just be okay with that. You know? I had a pretty bad moment, like, earlier today, actually. Where I was scrolling through my own Twitter, like, checking, like, what kind of bullshit have I been posting, right? Because I check that on occasion. Just, what the fuck have I been doing? And I scroll past the drawing I did of Chase and Leo drinking beer, and I'm just like, oh, he's so good. And oh, Josh, you're terrible. You can't be doing this. It can't be that easy. It's like, please, Josh, tell me you're not that easy. You're not that down bad. And, you know, then I tell myself, yeah, you're not. No worries. No worries, man. This is normal. A perfectly normal and healthy thing. There we go. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah. 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 Is this the best track in Arches? I feel like it's either this or... I do like just the main Arches track, though. Like the menu music. I don't know. There's something about it that I find, like, weirdly nostalgic in a way. Huh. I don't know, I really like that track. Of course, I also like Bridge. That one's also a good one. Like, it's probably my favorite soundtrack that Anthemix has made. Like, as much as I like the soundtrack to Camia, like, I think Arches I like more. Figure out how much I want this to curve. I care a little bit about how Shiranui will be illustrated. Because, like, sure, this design's way too complex for me to draw in a more serious manner. It's like, man, I don't draw this way. I draw the thick outlines and goofier look. And Vanguard cards always are over-designed to hell and back, because that's what the kids like these days. Or at least I assume so. Because I look back at the Strider units from G-Era, like the other Strider units, and go like, huh, Harry wasn't that popular, was he? Outside of just being a Pale Moon unit, like, actually that's probably the reason why he wasn't that popular, is, Harry's a boy? Privileged waifu clan users, like... Because Harry has a pretty, like, more normal design. It's still over-designed, but, like, compared to some of the other Strider units... I do also really like Victor, but Victor's design is more of a reference, so I don't know if that really counts. Kind of never understood like his little jaw armor piece, but whatever. It's a Giera design. They all have a whole bunch of extra design elements that don't need to be there. And I want to say Shiranui was by Daisuke. I could be wrong. Maybe Daisuke only designed Fenrir. Because he designs a lot of the more pushed units in the franchise. I think his full name was like Daisuke Izuka. What I don't entirely remember, because for some reason, when they print the credits on the cards, they leave them in Japanese. So I'm just looking at a bunch of moon runes like, who is this? Wait. What are we doing? well, Hank won't be completely covering Shiranui. Man, so of course I watched like the Vanguard anime in Japanese, right? And you know, they pronounce his name correctly, you know, Shiranui. A friend of mine watched the show English dubbed and then sent me a clip of them saying Shiranui, and I kind of died because they pronounced it like Shiranui. Like, what the fuck? How do you fuck up that badly? Like, how do you fuck up that badly when you have the original audio track to listen to, right? It is what it is. Also, hello, Bucky. There we go. Shiranui's taboo third eye or whatever. Where he gets his power from or something. Can I just thank you for not being a stereotypical Twitter user? What? What does that mean? I mean, like, I use Twitter. I mean, I assume my Twitter is not the most out of the ordinary thing. I mean, at this point, it's mostly for work, but like, it's like 90% just me tweeting about like the channel, but you know. I guess sometimes I'll post about like interests in things, which, you know, is what I assume what Twitter is for. Like, it's a social platform. You don't have a negative perspective on Twitter? Not really? Like, people use Twitter for whatever they like. It's a social platform. You can kind of do whatever you want. Like, sure, when I hop onto Twitter, it's mostly just porn on my end, but that's mostly what I see on Twitter. It's like, it's porn and VTuber news. That's what my timeline looks like. I'm like, Vesper is streaming. Good. Magni say the funny thing. You know, hashtag Magnation or whatever. Those are two very Josh topics. Well, isn't that what, like, you can cater your Twitter, you know? Like, you just follow things you're interested in, right? And you don't see much else? Like, sometimes I'll see, like, weird political things, and then I just scroll past them without reading it. Like, whatever. I just ignore it. Like, there's probably some, like, shit I should probably be paying attention to, but fuck it, I don't care. Like... I don't even see half the trending topics, like, that in, like, here, give me a second. Because Twitter, when they give you the trending sidebar thing, it tells you what's the highest trending thing of tags you normally associate with, right? So usually when I go to Twitter, the tags are things like, look, it's Love Live, Nichi Sanji English, and Skullgirls. These things are not trending globally. Like, you can fuck off. These are just topics that are roughly in the sphere that I, like, look at. I'm surprised furry isn't on the sidebar, because that's usually also there. Here, if I refresh it, will it give me that? No, it won't. Well, wait. Freddy FNAF is there. Okay, there we go. That's furry adjacent. Sometimes I'll see comic book titles on the sidebar, and I'm like, well, that can't be good. It's like, oh, I hate when social media starts recommending me comic book related things. What? We'll be lazy with this. Maybe. Actually, give me a minute. Fuck, it's up in my room. Never mind. I was just going to, like, look at a Shiranui card, but I think my deck box is in my room. Oh well. Shiranui. Stealth Dragon. Shiranui. Yeah, okay. We will do it like that. Eto. Ah, hello, Roach. Should I try playing the semi-recent FNAF game? That has, like, the hot version of Freddy in it, right? I've never played a FNAF game before. I always assumed I would hate them. And by hate, I mean I assumed I would get bored playing them. I don't know, I feel like I just don't have, like, I don't have, like, a gamer attention span. I get bored bored playing games so easily. But then the games I sometimes like end up being the most boring. I don't know. I don't know how my brain works. It's stupid. Like, it's just stupid. I don't know what's going on up in there. And that Skolo mine. You have a gaming channel? That doesn't mean I'm a gamer. Gamers play, like, I don't know, Call of Duty or something. That's what I've been told. Let's see here. Besides, plenty of people have gaming channels and they're not gamers. I mean, have you seen how I played half these video games? Nah. Why am I having such a hard time with this? What's the ideal gamer to you? I have a coffin. I don't know. I've worked at GameStop before. I've had to look at gamers for a while. I don't. I've definitely had to like deal with customers that are like, I'm a real gamer. Like, I need a more sophisticated video game. Here, try the new Assassin's Creed. Oh, perfect. Just what I wanted. And I'm like, oh, okay, sir. I think Black Flag was the newest one at the time, like when I was working at GameStop. It was either like Black Flag or Unity or something like that. That game is notoriously complete broken. Okay. I'm playing Black Flag. Look, I've never seen footage of Black Flag. I've been replaying all the Assassin's Creed. Yeah, I've noticed. I watched a bit of 3, and then I was like, right, I don't really like Assassin's Creed games. Like when I played 2 when it was relatively new, and like I remember having like some fun with that one, and then I didn't really like Brotherhood. And I didn't finish Revelations. And that was where my story ended with Assassin's Creed as a franchise. I played 2 Brotherhood and then like part of Revelations. That was in that era of like, I was trying out more normal video games because everyone kept telling me that I needed to play more normal video games. So I played a lot of like more normal blockbuster type video games and just didn't really like them. Because I think that was also around the time I tried playing Skyrim. And I got to the credits of Skyrim, and I was like, well, this game fucking sucked. And then, like, I brought that up with friends, and they're like, wait, you beat the game? What? Like, they were confused, and then I was confused, because I'm like, wait, wasn't that the objective? Like, to go and, like, do the story? And everyone said I played it wrong because of that, so I don't know. They're like, no, you're supposed to just do side quests endlessly, and I'm like, that sounds boring. I don't want to just sit there and running around this empty map. I did that for like 2 sessions of gaming, and then was like, yeah, I'm bored, I'll just do the story now. I had my weird jester friend. Now I'll just tell him to do shit for me. I had like an unkillable horse or some shit. I don't know. I barely remember that game. I don't remember that weird horse that you like get out of the swamp from doing some weird quest line thingy. Don't remember it. Oh well. I remember one of the games when it came out and people are like, wait, you don't like this? How dare you? Was like BioShock Infinite. I didn't play the other BioShock games. It was just like, oh, this is the new one, right? And you know, this was when it came out, so people were like really hyped up on that. No. It's great. It's the pinnacle of gaming experiences, right? Like buzzwords. And I was just kind of like, oh, the game's fine, I guess, but like, I'm kind of bored. I mean, I'm still inking, seriously. Are you that thirsty to see Shiranui's like tank top? Like yeah, I'll do it like this, whatever. Just curious who. Oh my god. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Yeah. Also, for those who are like watching the 16 streams, is it me or is half that story like incomprehensible? Like, I find like keeping up with what's happening in that game, I actually find it fairly difficult. I keep thinking that like certain plot points will be more prevalent, and then they just won't mention it for like 10 hours. Or they'll just be like, time skip, the entire political landscape is different now. We're not gonna show you it, but it's different now. And I'm like, was I supposed to know? Like, what? Am I supposed to already understand like how like the system is working? Like the politics in the universe? Because like we don't get to see it. Or maybe we do and I just don't understand. Like I don't quite follow what's happening in that game at any given moment. And I found that was like not an issue in prior entries for me. Like I never got lost in like the political battle in like Final Fantasy IX, or even in like being confused in 16, going like, what nation? We've never been there. Like like you had that one cutscene where they show like two political factions fighting, and you get to see like the like Odin and Bahamut fight, but I'm like, I don't know who these factions are. Like, I kind of thought, because after that after the second time skip, they show you like how the force that Odin is from is like taking over and whatever, right? But that's like an area we haven't been to, so I don't know. I feel so disconnected from what that means, because like I don't get to see how that works. Like, what's this? No, so serious. That won't fix this. Like, reading the details doesn't fix the fact that I don't know, because you don't see it, right? Like, you can tell me all you want, because they do in that cutscene. They go like, oh, well, this faction does X. But, like, I don't understand what that means. And reading it in a codex doesn't fix that. Like, what does that mean for the world? What is the actual shift in culture? Do we get to see it? Because that's a thing you have to see. If you're just told that the political landscape changes, that doesn't mean anything. Because you don't actually, like... Because the characters in universe don't even, like, convey that at all. Like, what? You can't just say, oh, well, they explained it in the codex, because that doesn't actually fix anything. That doesn't help the story. That clears up lore, but remember, lore isn't story. And even then, just saying that, what's his name, Clive is the first shield and thus is a chosen one of sorts, what does that mean? Because yes, in the codex entry, it does say he is the first shield, and that's like a once a generation thing. But what does that actually mean? how does that change, like, the world? Wouldn't that mean he would be more important to society because he's even rarer than a dominant? What does the effects, like, what about the previous, like, first shields? How did those change, like, the quote-unquote political landscape? Like, if you only get one, like, first shield, but you get, like, 8 dominants at a time. They're just so many things. It's just, nope, gone. Yeah, after the war was over. Yeah, but you see what I mean, though, right? Because is that a story element at that point, or is it a lore detail, like, to convey the passage of time? And, like, it can be a lore detail, sure, but we don't get to really understand what that means for the universe. That, and we really don't get to see how it affects the characters, because fuck do they care. Ah, Jill, how are you feeling today? And she's just like, I sure am alive. I do be a breathing character. For now. I don't know why in my head I'm like, she's gonna die soon. But in my head, I am definitely like, she's going to die soon. And I don't want to say that it's because she's female, but also I feel like she's going to die because she's female. But, like, that would really suck for, like, the character, right? Because, like, all we've really known about her is that she's the childhood best friend of Clive, and also she was, like, a slave to a religion for her adult years. And was, like, brutally and physically, like, she was, like, physically mistreated by this, like, religion and stuff. And it's like, well, this would be real odd if this is how we leave her character. Because, boy, that barely comes up again, doesn't it? Like, we're told that she had, like, no power as a dominant, like, in terms of the country she was fighting for, and she wasn't allowed to even proc her own abilities. Like, a priest did that for her by beating her. Like... And it's like, well, how does this affect her character? It feels like this should affect her a lot. No? Okay. Get fucked, Jill, I guess. Because that feels so weird that we get to see her get beaten by, like, a priest to become Shiva, and then we beat her up and hospitalize her for a good chunk of the game, and then she wakes up and is just like, oh, Clive, my good friend. And then, like, she just barely talks for the rest of the game. It's so weird. Or maybe I'm just thinking about it too hard. Maybe this is fine. Maybe this is, like, how you should treat a character like this. I don't know. Like, I find it weird that your dog and your bird get more reverence than Jill does. Well, Seer, if it's ever gotten brought up, then it's not important. And thus, poor Jill. Not an important character. I'm still waiting for them to justify her space in the game. Other than being a potential cock sleeve for Clive. She might open up another door. Oh, but she held that door, though. Oh boy, did she hold that door. Is that the only thing she's really done? She opened a door? Because let me tell you, her doing nothing during the Ultima encounter, fucking blessed. Sid sits there, dies, Jill stands off to the side. Oh no. Like, come on, girl. You can't be this pathetic. And then it's like, oh no, she's that pathetic. Oh well. What do you think? After I finish drawing the next thing, should I boot up 16 and we sit there and read codex entries for 3 hours? Will I finally love the story and characters if I read the codex? If that were the case, Cirrus, then why not tell the audience that? If I have to come to a conclusion like that, that is poor storytelling. And I'm not giving Final Fantasy that out. And neither should you. This is a franchise that is how old? And how critically acclaimed in the past? No. This franchise does not gets to cut quarters like that. Serious people have been playing devil's advocate for this franchise for 15 years after it went into the shitter. It doesn't deserve that anymore. It straight up doesn't need that. Because it's like, oh my god, could you have imagined if, like, in Final Fantasy IX, you just didn't get to go to the Rat City? Either of them? And instead those were, like, codex entries? Or if, like, what the Queen was doing with Kuja was only in a codex entry? Or if the relationship between, like, the Emperor from Final Fantasy VI and his relationship with Kefka was only a codex entry? Like... no. Like, could you imagine if Zack was only in a codex entry in 7? And that would be the only mention of him? Like, I don't really know, like, what happened in the franchise for this to become, like, more normal for shit like this to happen. No, Sirius. I'm going to disagree with you there, Sirius. Codexes aren't a crutch. They're just lazy. They're a... we couldn't figure out a way to implement this, so we're gonna do it in the most boring and cheapest way possible, and just put it in text form off to the side. Because that was always one of my biggest complaints with 13. Because so much of 13 is conveyed in the codexes that you never actually get to see. Like, so much of that game's world is only implied. And only implied because it's in the codex. It's just like, but why? Shouldn't this, like, be in the game? Like, one of the moments that legitimately killed me in 13 was when you go to an amusement park, right? And you get a codex entry about how this is one of the most beloved places on Cocoon, and descriptions of some of the attractions. You cannot interact with anything in this amusement park. And you only get to go to a couple rooms. And then the story progresses. Oh, but you know, it should be fun, right? We told you it's a fun place in the codex entry. It's not like we couldn't just convey that to you, the player, by letting you do stuff there. Maybe. And that's for, like, a fun thing, right? Then there's everything about how that world works, how its political factions function. And that's all, like, almost entirely in the Codex entries. I love that you can read about one of the central antagonists in 13 before you meet them, because that Codex entry gets unlocked before you meet that villain. Like... It's so good. So the codexes become a hindrance more than anything else. Because in some cases, they actively show you plot twists that happen later in the game. Or Cirrus. You could implement them into the game and story. Just remove the codexes entirely. They shouldn't be there. They straight up should not be there. Like, what do you like? Who do you think you are, Hideo Kojima? And even then, I know players who love that franchise who fucking hate the codexes because too many things are conveyed only in the codexes there. Does anyone love codex mechanics in these games legitimately? Like, are people excited at the idea that they are going to take content in the game and squish them into a codex? Is that a positive for people? Like... Because the codexes are no longer supplementary material. They're just the game story at this point. And that's so aggravating. Because then it's, what's the point of these 80-hour cutscenes if the story is not going to be conveyed in them and they're instead shoved into a codex? Like, if there were no cutscenes, fine, I understand why the codex is there. You're now using it as a replacement for your narrative, like, giving it narrative information to the player. Fine. But in this case, it's just like, well, why is there so many cutscenes, both in the main story and in side quests, if you're not going to convey the story and characters through that? Why do I have to read a document? Does this make it better? Are you, like, doing something narratively by having it, like, push through that? No? Then why is it here? Like, it really shouldn't be. But aren't the scrolls in Diablo just lore and not the story? Then that's fine. Like, if it's just the background lore and stuff, that's fine. Like, you have Dark Souls, right? And Dark Souls does have a story, as much as people like to say it doesn't. And it is... because Dark Souls has a very simple story. It is the story of the chosen undead choosing to relight the first flame or plunging the world into an age of dark. That is the story of Dark Souls. Everything else is just lore. The story of Gwyn sending his knights to try to take down the Witch of Izalith after she went supernova and became the Bed of Chaos. That is not story. That is lore. That is there to explain why Anor Londo and Lost Izalith are the way that they are. But that doesn't really impact anything because that's history. It's lore. Like, all the cutscenes in, like, Dark Souls are there to convey the plot of the primordial serpents trying to convince you one way or another to either relight the fire or plunge the world into a new age of dark. And you have all the characters you interact with, like, represent both those sides of the narrative. And so you're supposed to, like, narratively, who you side with politically is who you're going to listen to either do one of those two things. That is how that story works. And how they, like, chose to convey that story. It's also probably the best narrative in, like, the Souls games, but that's besides the point. Mainly because it's not that convoluted and very straightforward. And of course you're gonna, like, plunge the world into an age of dark. Fuck it. Who relights the, who lights the first flame again? That's for quitters. What? I forget. You have to, like, you have to not talk to Kaith, right? And you have to do the Four Kings boss fight before talking to Keith or Kath? Can't quite remember. And sure, you never quite figure out what the serpents get out of, like, their specific decisions. That's lore tidbits you never quite get. But, like, fuck it, who cares? That's not part of the actual narrative. That would be lore details. That I don't care about, even. Oh yeah, you can do the Four Kings before that. No worries. You just need the, Actually, wait, when do you get the ring? Is that after Sif? I think do you have to fight Sif first? The only, like, prerequisite for doing the Four Kings boss fight is you need the Ring of Artorias. But you can talk to Kaith after you ring both bells. Because that's how you're meant to do that, is when you ring both bells, you get access to both the Sen's Fortress and talking to Kaith. Because the bell is that wakes him up. we go. He doesn't need his armor. Fuck that noise. We'll just have him. We'll just have him like this. There we go. Esto. No. Okay. There we go. We'll delete that. Yeah. We'll also have to drag this up, but that's okay. Bed? David, it's only like, what, isn't it like 3 a.m. for you? The night is young. Then again, there's really nothing to do anymore, is there? There's really no, like, nightlife anymore. At least where I live. Unless you count going to IHOP as the nightlife. It's like one of the few places still open this late. Fucking sucks. Because of the 80s, amazing. I mean, everywhere has a bad reputation if you only view it through media and, like, cultural osmosis. Nowhere is as bad as it seems. At least through, like, the extreme, like, way that people talk about things. Well, we can clean this up a little bit more, though. And by that I mean I can add a little bit more. add a little bit more inking. We wanna define good old Joker Dragons packs just a little bit. You know what I mean? I probably drew his arm like way too big. I know I drew his arm too big, but you know that's just a thing that I like, so I'm not gonna change that. I like big ol' arms, you know. There we go. There we go. Oh, whoops. Do I want that colored? I don't think I do. All right. Well, that's probably as good as it's going to get. You know. So I'll end it here probably. Yeah. I don't know what I'll do next time, folks, but I don't know. It is what it is. Anyway, I'll see you guys around.